Hello, my name is Claire Piper, and this is how I made my Python programming in Mr. Lang's class. The first REPL we made was in Python. We made a folder, and within Python, we had a print function and variables folders. We started off by making a print function folder that included a poem/song and print functions part 1. Within print functions part 1, we just had a whole bunch of different print functions, and we started off by adding programmer date and purpose, so we had it labeled, but we had a whole bunch of print functions that we added to print the text when we click to run. So we have hello world, and then we have good morning, welcome to Monday, May 13th, 2024, and we have these slash n, so there's spaces in between this next print function. As you can see when I run it, there's that space right here, so it goes on to the next line, so the text looks more cleaner when you print it and run it. After print functions, we continued to make poem/song, which is where we copied the song Sweet Caroline, as you see right here, and we added a whole bunch of print functions to add the lyrics when we clicked run. So here it is, Sweet Caroline, and where it began, and it's just all the different lines and different verses of the song. After that, we created a variables folder, and within that we have variables part 1 and 2, and in both variables we have name, grade, age, and homeschool, and we have different print functions to print those different strings into the text when we run it. So as you can see right here, it says, hello, my name is Claire Piper. Hello, my name is name, which is in the string right here. So when we add name, it'll add the string Claire Piper in that text. Same thing for grade and homeschool. We did somewhat of that same thing for variables part 2, but instead we included if, elif, and else, and I will explain those in a second within Notion. But for now, we still have name, age, grade, favorite class, extracurricular activity, and video games. So these are all functions in this part of the section. So when you click run, you can fill out what is your name, Claire, how old are you? I'm 14. What grade are you in? Ninth. My favorite class, let's put gym. Extracurricular activity, I am in PAC. Do you like video games? No. So when I fill that out, there's these axes right here that we included with the backward slash n, and it puts it into the sentences that we added right here. It runs them into these sentences. Since we did a whole bunch of research with REPL and the codes, I decided to make my own. So I started with adding the hashtag programmer date and program so I could label my first REPLet. And then I added a print function that says welcome to Monday. And then I had an input, what are you having for lunch? And when they reply, it'll also has a print function replying. So when they say what they're having for lunch, there's a string attached to it that'll reply to them. So then it's the same thing for the rest too. So when I say what am I having for lunch, I'll say pizza, and it replies by saying the pizza in the text. Since I've been explaining what REPL is to you and the different vocabulary there is within it, I have a tab called Notion up where I keep all of my notes organized. So under program we have computer programming, the general definition of it, what an algorithm is, and what an IDE is. And within programming, we have a Python tab that includes data types, variables, and if, elif, and else, which I said I was going to explain. But within Python, we have Python definitions, some structured programming, a bunch of programming different definitions. So if we go into data types, we have different strings, concatenation, casting integer, a whole bunch of different definitions that we have within our codes. Next, we have variables that we created a whole bunch of different variables within Python. So those are some definitions for those. And lastly, we have if, elif, and else. And these are the different if, elif, and else's that you can use within your REPLs. So since I created everything in Notion and Replit, I had to add that to my Wix editor. So I just have Python programming, the definition of computer programming, and within that I have Sweet Caroline, defining variables, and if, elf, and else in different anchors. So here's Sweet Caroline that you can see that goes right to my Replit. Defining variables goes to variables part 1. That you can see how I did it with my different print functions. And lastly, you have my if, elf, and else that you can see a whole bunch of my dip right there. Lastly, since Notion was a big help in creating my notes for me, I have that linked right here so that when you click on it, it goes right to my Notion notes. So you can see all the different texts and different words that I have found definitions for using AI within Notion. Thank you for watching how I created my REPLs and Replit, my notes in Notion, and how I added it all to my Wix.